Hey, what's up? I'm Jay Moss, and today we are going to master Inspirit. 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 Inspirate. Here's the deal with this band. Most of these guys are all super old friends of mine. They collectively are the original lineup for a band called Vanna, who probably a lot of you have heard of. I did a record for them called The Few and Far Between years back and played plenty of shows with these guys. And now Nick and I are homies. Well, we're homies with a bunch of them, but Nick and I are like dad homies. Like he brings his kid and I got my kid and we just run around. It's cool. Anyway, they collectively started a new band. They asked me to master it, but as luck would have it, Nick came over for a Halloween party. We're hanging out and I was like, dude, let's just get in front of the camera and do like an interview, which felt weird and I don't know, it's kind of goofy. So we're gonna start with an interview. You'll get to know the backstory of the band. You'll get to meet Nick. He'll probably plug a couple things and then we'll move on to the mastering. Make sure to stay to the end of the video because I used one plugin in particular on this master that I think people are just gonna be like, what? Also, I feel like really weird saying this, but can you like and subscribe? I just got monetized. I made 25 cents so far, so I'm going for that bag of chips. Small bag, but a bag. All right, enough about chips. Let's cut to the interview. So, I wore something special for you today.
Black.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah. So, cheers.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Absolutely,
Good
man.
one.
Glad you came. Brought the kids. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So, you just released a single.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
The first song that is it the first? I guess it's the first one we wrote too. Or the first one that I wrote.
Yep.
We did 5 songs. I wrote 3 of them. Brandon wrote a couple of them. Just the skeletons. Put an EP together and we wanted to start releasing them in, single format because it's 2020 and that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was grabbing a bug.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like the original 5 Vanna guys. So me, Ev, Sean, Brandon, Chris.
Yep.
Back at it.
Back at it. After all these years.
But a new band. So
we should talk about our origin story. When we played in the shed.
We played in the shed because our show got shut down.
Sure did.
November 5th, 1955 in Vanna.
Yes, that's right. And for those of you who watch my dumbass videos, you probably saw me remix November 5th, 1955. Not too many videos ago. So it's a nice tie-in.
Cool. Yeah. It's like we planned it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So how was it getting back together with the OG crew?
It was cool. It came around because we did that final show at the Palladium.
That makes sense.
We did that show and we wanted to play a bunch of the older music. But when we said we were going to do it, it felt a little weird to play all that music and not have the rest of the guys there.
Sure.
And we figured everyone would be down to do it and reached out and everyone was super excited to come through. So we planned that out, had like a whole section of that final show where it was the original 5 of us up on stage at the Palladium and it was magic, dude. Right back at it. It was so cool.
It's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like periods of time where like we weren't all in touch and stuff like that and then to all come back like that. And honestly, I think that was the first time me and Evan had like spoken years. Mm-hmm. And not for any good reason, just because you lose touch with people and whatever. Exactly. So it was really cool. But yeah, it was so funny. We got up there and everyone was looking at each other in that like, oh man, this is
right.
This is like it just like exactly like it was in 6, 5.
Yeah. Would have been 5, dude. It would have been 5 or 6.
That's old.
Yeah.
That makes me feel old.
We have kids now. Yeah. So yeah, I felt bad. I meant to go to your last show.
Yes.
I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But I saw pictures.
It was cool.
It was packed.
It was really packed. Scott Lee did a really good job with that for us. It was awesome. We planned the whole thing out. It was like both stages running the whole time and then culminated in us playing downstairs.
Right, of course.
For that last set.
That's awesome.
And it was so exhausting because I'm in my 30s and we played for like 2 hours. I don't think I've ever even come, or 2.5. I mean, it was like silly how long we played. It was unnecessary. You don't need 2.5 hours of metalcore ever.
But so
those kids did.
I don't. Yeah, I definitely don't. But
those kids were in. They were there for it.
Yeah.
They were.
Well, that's awesome.
It was sweet.
I mean, same thing. I did go to the last Bane show. So this is, and I promise it's not like preferential, like Jay Moss
cool.
recording alumni.
Only recording. Cool, man.
Yeah. But they played for a long time too.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
It was fun. But that was, so, long story short, we ended up kind of all shut down for quarantine in the spring. And then Brandon hit me up and was like, dude, we should write some music.
Dope.
Because we got nothing else to do. And I wasn't tattooing because obviously they shut us down pretty quick. And that was it. So I wrote a few songs. He wrote a few. Then we sent them to Chris. And then he was kind of sending us vocals back. Everything was through email too.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Chris is in Texas, Evan's in Florida, and then me, Sean, and Brandon are all kind of in the Boston area.
Oh, so you guys recorded remotely?
Yeah. Until we went and actually did the real...
Oh, so you were demoing
So
remotely.
the demos were remote, yeah. Which actually came out pretty cool. Brandon just kind of like, threw them together, and the three of us kind of were writing stuff, and it came up somewhere where we were like, oh, we should really just ask Evan and Sean if they want to do this too, and just make it the five of us.
Yeah,
it didn't have to be Vanna. We didn't want it to be Vanna, because... Not for any bad reasons either. It's just that band had its time for many, many years.
Totally.
To try to rehash that means that all these other expectations come along with it. So like,
exactly.
Oh, you're doing new Vanna. So are we gonna, where's this member? Are you gonna do this thing now? Are you gonna do a 10-year anniversary of this? And it's like, no. This is a new band. So now, nothing else is necessarily attached unless we want it to be.
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense because if I was to you just can't be the thing you were 15 years ago. No. I think we see that with bands all the time, right? Like you see these records come out and there's something that happens when a record comes out. The timing is right. The community is right.
Right.
Like everything's just right and it hits in a certain way. And I think it's actually kind of both naive and arrogant at the same time to think that we can just
we'll just redo it.
Yeah.
Let's just redo it.
Oh, I can control all of that.
Yeah.
I just make all of that happen again.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's right place at the right time when it happens naturally like that. And
Yeah.
if you force it, it's just not the same.
Awesome. So we did a record literally right here.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. We did Year of the Rat. Oh,
Yeah.
that was the single.
It was The Few and Far Between.
with Vanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that you didn't record with me for the
No,
but I did get to I got to master it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I got to
that
master
sounds
it.
unbelievable.
Thank you. I had a blast working on it. And remember when I shared it too early? And then you were like, so you didn't ask? Can you take that down?
I wasn't really that worried about it because it was going up, but I'm like, oh, well, no, that's the name, and we haven't said anything about any of this. You're like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, I was like,
if you just want to wait
I was
a couple days. But... Dude, actually, and I told all the guys, no one cared. We were like, because I told them also that when you hit me back about putting it up early, you were like, all the feedback I'm getting is really good, actually.
Yeah,
So
it
I
was,
like,
dude.
sweet.
My fucking DMs are blowing up. They're
That's
like, what
really
the fuck
cool.
is this?
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just tell the world before them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I knew you were going to be here because our kids play together all the time now. So that's cool. And I thought it might be cool for people because normally we focus just solely on super nerdy shit.
Right.
But
just on
we are ultimately band dudes at the end of the day.
Sure are.
Just like probably most of you fuckers are. So,
Guys who are getting older that have tinnitus.
yes. Yes. That's what I'm going to rebrand the whole thing. Yeah. Old guys with tinnitus. So anyway, let's get to it. I thought I'd start this video by interviewing the man, the myth, the legend, the wonderful, plug your shit, like Nick Adam Tattoo.
Oh, that too?
Fuck
oh,
it.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, there's 10 people watching.
Yeah, right. I'm a tattooer up in Boston, Riverside Tattoo in Cambridge. Mm-hmm. Nick Adam Tattoo on Instagram, NickAdamTattoo.
You guys want to see his work? He did my Tim Landers slug.
I sure did.
Yeah, let's focus on that bitch right there.
You know,
Look at that. That's actually very not indicative of your skill set because everyone really likes your tattoos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
And I feel bad because I'm probably one of the biggest bitches.
He doesn't like to get tattooed.
I'm bad. Yeah.
He doesn't deal with it well.
Oh, no. I go into full, tunnel vision.
There's a shutdown
sweat.
mode afterwards.
Oh, yeah, and I lay there and whine. It's bad. All right. So, anyway, let's now master, or I'll show you the mastering process for Inspirit.
Inspirit. Fold.
But, wait, it's plural. Inspirit's first single.
Oh, yeah.
Like apostrophe.
I am not a smart man.
Yeah, it's okay. Same.
It's the cider.
That's it. All right, wasn't that fun? Now let's master this sassafras. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, let's just listen to this. No chain whatsoever. You might notice right away, there's a track and then there's a subs. Originally what happened was when I had the subs going through the same chain. Oh, if you don't know what a sub is, it's, you know what a sub is. So, something like that. something with a lot of like low frequency energy. Anyway, when I originally had that going through the chain, it didn't work very well. It pumped the whole master. So I had them separate these out. Now let's take a listen to the mix. All right, so what do I think right off the rip? I'm really happy because the gain staging is really good. Chris Curran did an awesome job on this mix, and it's really well balanced. There isn't a lot that I need to fight. So when I'm looking at anything like basically mixing or mastering related, I'm always looking to sort of correct things before I embellish things. In this case, there isn't a ton to correct. So we're just gonna sort of go on like an embellishment journey together here. Psychoacoustically speaking, I feel like it's like a little dark, but it's okay because it's balanced dark, and it's better to deliver, in my opinion, a slightly dark mix than a too bright mix for sure. So our first contender is going to be a plugin called Gullfoss, and here is without Gullfoss. Look at that region right there. I want you to watch when it says, I think it says sailing on. It's awesome. So this is an intelligent EQ. It knows, hey, we could do a lift here, and it's opening up the mix nicely. But when that sibilance comes in on sailing, you'll see the high end duck. Again, I talk about it all the time, but I love smart plugins. All right, step one, open it up. This one isn't even fair. This is like, we're gonna super duper open this up. So here's where we were. This is also going to fundamentally kind of screw up the mid-range balance, but that's okay. The trade-off is worth it. This plugin is very fussy with gain staging. So yes, I have it cranked all the way. Maybe I'll do this so you can hear it. I'll start with it all the way down, then I'll turn it all the way up. Truth be told, I just find myself gain staging nicely into this plugin, and I often have it just dialed. Notice we're not taking any compression from here, and in general, I don't think this mix needs a ton of compression to begin with. So you can just see it in the waveform actually. Let's look. I mean, you can physically see like the dynamics are nicely handled. We have impact where we need to have impact, but the average volume is very consistent. Makes it easy for me. Also, just as a note, I usually find like one knob style plugins to be really gimmicky. I like to know what's going on under the hood. This was made by Waves in partnership with Greg Wells. Greg's a phenomenal engineer, and so I tried it because I love his work, and it totally holds up. So while the nerdy like engineer guy in me feels weird, just like I turned one knob, it sounds good. It's good, so I use it. But having said that, one thing that this plugin does do is, like I said, it shifts the low mid-range and the high mid-range. It focuses on high mid-range. So here we are. We're gonna balance that out. We're going to attenuate high mid-range with Sooth dynamically. Cool, so this is without. Hear those guitars get like and then I'll do off and then I'll do on. Way warmer, but still lots of power, right? This next plugin I talk about and I like because it looks like my name if it ended with G. The idea here is that we have a pretty mid-range focus mix. So we're gonna use this knob. These are sub frequencies. We're gonna put this all the way up to 40. This is like dog frequencies. Humans can't really hear that, but we can sort of perceive it, and we're gonna crank. Experimenting with the absolute ends of the frequency spectrum is really, really important when we're trying to deliver both impact and foundation, which comes from the sub frequencies, and then that clarity and air from those super high frequencies. This is also very easy to mess up. I definitely recommend experimenting. Listen to it in multiple places, but once you get a grasp on this, sort of like holding that fundamental low end of the mix and then finding that perfect sweet spot where everything just sings up top, that goes a super long way in making professional products. All right, here we go. Off then on. All right, and now you know what we'll do is so this one at 2.5, that's where I ended up, and this one I ended up 8. That's a big boost, by the way. We're gonna we're gonna reset that to 0, and that's a 0, and I'll let you hear this as we sort of push into it. Sounds so much better. Now let's open up that high end. Way better, right? All right, Leapwing Audio Stage 1. This is a great plugin. I'm really excited to show you the depth portion of this plugin. This is kind of like normal stereo widener. This isn't anything too crazy, but they do probably the best job at it that I've ever heard. This part is really neat. So when I was starting out, a really great piece of advice that I got is that a great mix sounds like it's coming from behind the speakers, not in front of the speakers. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use this depth knob, and we're gonna do exactly that. It does a great job of making you feel like you're like surrounded by and inside of the mix, as opposed to the mix coming like at you, you're like in it. It's great. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the usual, it's off, it's on. Now I want to really overdo this depth thing. I want you to be able to sort of really hear what this is doing. And as I pull it back, you'll have a better idea, or probably an easier time hearing what's actually going on. And obviously that is a little too much, but somewhere right around here in the 40s, wherever I landed, let's use the old backspace button. Yeah, 41, great. To me, that's where I ended up, and I think it sounds really good. We'll do one more time with a bypass. So that's obviously a subtle effect, but it's one of those little things you can do that really brings the listener in. And like most great mixes and most great masters, they're created by a series of smart and kind of small choices all adding up together. All right, FabFilter. You can probably see what I'm doing here. I have to do this on mixes or masters where I use a lot of mix-centric. This is to also help counterbalance that low mid-range thing. So earlier we put on mix-centric, what up? And then we use sooth to tame some of those high mid-range frequencies that were popping out dynamically. Now what I want to do, because we shifted some low mid-range into high mid-range, I'm going to compensate for that now. So here we go. This is going to get way warmer real quick. That's one of those moments where when you first put it on, your ears have adjusted, so you're like, whoa, whoa, this just got like really muddy, but then you take it off and you're like, oh no, this was really thin. So it's good to toggle back and forth, give yourself some references, check some other mixes, but what you'll probably find is that once you work on something long enough, your ears will literally like acclimate to anything. So it's good to take breaks. It's also good to turn things off because you'd probably be like, oh my God, how did I ever think that sounded good? Okay, next up is my secret compressor for stereo bus. I've talked about this a little bit with some people, but not that many people know that I'll use this. This is Arvox. This is from the Renaissance collection from Waves, and it's typically used as a vocal compressor, and it's very good as a vocal compressor. And it has a voice that I noticed that I liked, and the best way I can put it is it just has like a certain muscle, and it has a warmth, and I hate to use these words, character, because I know that's so ambiguous, but no, it's not technically designed to be on your master bus, but I tried it, and it's awesome. Here we go, before and after, and then we'll show you what it sounds like. It's so good. It's so secret weapon. Like, did you hear that low mid-range fill in? It's like Muscles, well, like if I had muscles, it would be like muscles. It's warm, but not muddy. It shortens our dynamic range. It makes everything feel like right here and super strong. You can totally overdo that, which we're gonna do in a second, because I want you to hear kind of what this thing does a little bit more than I would use on this mix, just so you can kind of get a taste for it, but it's great. All right, let's start at 0 and let's just push this thing too far. So obviously that's trash. It just distorts and gets pumpy, but a dab will do you. And this is what I was talking about, making smart, smaller changes in succession to make great products. So good. I love that. And then lastly, pick your favorite limiter. Here's my favorite limiter. Sup, FabFilter, and we're just gonna boost to taste. My favorite preset for FabFilter for music like this is modern. Go figure, modern music, modern preset. I ended up on 6.4. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the bottom, and I'll just push this up, and then we're mastered. All right, let's go from nothing. You know what? I'm gonna turn the limiter off because I know loudness can be really deceiving. So I'm gonna turn the limiter off and we're just going to listen to nothing to something. Nothing to our something. How sick is that? Like, we took a great sounding mix and we just did all of these little things that totally opened it up. It created like an atmosphere around us with stage 1. We did some crazy unconventional compression with RVox, and overall it was just little iterative moves that led to an enormous difference in the product. So hopefully that made sense. If you guys have any questions about why I chose what I chose or anything at all, hit me up in the, in the comments, whatever. Try to be nice. Everyone's nice so far. I always hear YouTubers being like, oh, don't look at the comments. I get 1 or 2 stinkers, but most of the time people are like, thanks for the video, Jay. Great video. Thanks for the effort. Really appreciate it. All right, with that, I am Jay Moss. I hope you learned something. I will see you next time. Adios.